Well, by God, everybody, we needed that, didn't we? Welcome back to One Leeds. I thought about doing a stream, but I thought we'll just go live tomorrow morning, of course. And we've had the Ornstein bomber. Yes, Leeds United appear to have struck an agreement, according to Ornstein, for Mr. Sean of Longstaff Shire. Thank God. Now, look, no more bedwetting. That's what I'll say as I was just darting through the rainforest there. But no more bedwetting. No more... I mean, it's just a start, isn't it? But it's a signing. It's something we needed. We need as fans this week. I've seen Lachumi. I've seen Granit Xhaka linked even with Sunderland. People are messaging me about, I'm saying I don't want to hear about Sunderland. I don't want to hear about them anymore. I'm sick of it's becoming Black Cats TV. But Leeds United eventually just get that alert sign. Fantastic, the alert emoji, and Leeds United agreement in place to sign Newcastle's Sean Longstaff. Fantastic stuff on the eve of me going and seeing the Gallaghers. What a bolster that is for my mood. We needed it, everybody. We needed something from the club after Graham's article I felt, and after the almost just negative nature this week, and for the past 14 days really, how we've just been within this agreement that Leeds need to do something, and the deal appears to be done. There's nothing come out really when it comes to the confirmation of the details yet, and that will happen in due course. But let's just talk about the player when it comes to Sean Longstaff. What are we expecting? I think, as I've mentioned several times on my streams before, I think in a 4-3-3 is his best formation. I think centrally and the right side of a midfield three is where Sean Longstaff is the best. Now, where are his main attributes? What do we expect from him? Well, he's box to box. Defensively, I think he's very decent as well. His duel rate is exceptionally good, in my opinion, when you're kind of looking at him in comparison to other Premier League midfielders. I look as well at his interceptions, his blocks. I think this is perfect for Leeds United in a sense of coming up against maybe your mid-table teams and us being able to fluctuate and have differentials in that midfield when it comes to Tanaka, when it comes to Longstaff, hopefully Anton Stack and Ampadu. It just means we can do a variance of different things. I personally feel that against mid-table teams, Longstaff will be perfect. You put like a little bit of a base in there when it comes to Stack or Ampadu, you know, fingers crossed. And then you've got your presser, your dynamic midfielder, Sean Longstaff, pressing the action, getting Leeds up the pitch, and hopefully has been able to get a little bit of joy there. Do I see him as an out-and-out defensive double pivot? I don't see that as Longstaff's position. You speak to many Newcastle fans, they see him as a little bit more of a box-to-box, not just at a base of a pivot, like your Ampadu, like your Gruev, as an example, even like Tanaka, who's, I would say Tanaka can be very much a deep playmaker, a conductor, an orchestrator of play. But I do like Longstaff. I think it's a good signing for Leeds. It's not one of which I'm going to say straight away goes into a 4-2-3-1 system. If you're giving me a 4-3-3 system, we can have a little bit of a conversation about that. We really can. But I think overall, really good addition for Leeds United in terms of, you know, being able to change that midfield in different games. It adds that level of physicality. It adds that level of athleticism. I know a lot of you guys like the Prem proven experience thing. I'm not too hot on that, but it is what it is. 27 years of age, you expect him to probably come in on a 4, potentially even 5-year contract. He's just moving down the road. And it feels in terms of notoriety, this is Leeds United's biggest signing yet, if you're thinking about it, because everybody's aware of who Sean Longstaff is. You know, when you look at the other 4, it's a little bit like, according to, you know, well, a lot of us, it's like, oh, okay, interesting. You know, Nemetra's probably the highest profile, and that's because he was at City. That's because he was in the German national side for 7 appearances. But yeah, Longstaff, I think we've spoken about it for weeks now, but I think this is big for the fan base. I think it was big for the fan base. I think now we need to do a lot more. I can see a lot of you in the comment section saying, Conor, A, this wasn't good enough, and B, this isn't a needle mover. And do I agree with you? Yes, on both fronts. It's not one that's going to make the maddest of differences when it comes to Leeds United's position. In my opinion, is it a needle mover? It depends what you categorise as a needle mover. You know, if you're looking at what a needle mover is and having depth and having sustenance in the midfield and having a different profile to the profiles that we've got right now, then it could be a needle mover. But is it a needle mover in terms of out-and-out quality, calibre? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, what probably are Sean's weaknesses, and we could call him Sean now because he's our player, or he will be our player very soon. But ball carrying, I don't think is his greatest attribute. I don't think he's great on the ball as well. To be honest with you, I think there are better midfielders out there. We spoke this morning about Bologna's Lewis Ferguson. We spoke about even Borough's Hayden Hackney to an extent. And there's been a few disagreements with Hayden Hackney online, but I think Hackney in particular is really good at progressing the ball, but he's not played at Premier League level yet. So there's your little caveat to that. So that's what people will say, which is completely understandable. But there are profiles out there very similar to Sean Longstaff that maybe add something a little bit different when it comes to ball carrying. We've seen Hackney do that at Championship level. We've seen Lewis Ferguson do that in Serie A as well. Raphael Onyedika was another one who's quite similar to that of Sean Longstaff as well. Eyeballing, I have to turn the other way, honestly. People like that at you. So that's going to get clipped. But yeah, Raphael Onyedika is another one who sort of fit that similar profile. But I think the brilliant thing, and when we're talking about these players this morning, Zuriuki is another one as well at Feyenoord who I was looking at in terms of a potential alternative to Longstaff for a good fee. You look at these players and Longstaff's tend to, well, it's going to be a little bit more now, isn't it? But you're probably expecting, I reckon, in and around 16, 17 million quid. I don't think you get the others for that fee, especially when you look at Lewis Ferguson with his contract. I think his contract's till 2028 at Bologna. Massive player in that respect. Raphael Onyedika feels like it's going to be very pricey, but it does also feel like other clubs are trying to go for these needle movers now. They brought, you know, when you look at West Ham, for instance, they brought in significant transfer fees now. We know Wolves have, they're going to be in and around the bottom with Leeds United. And we're not even just talking about the teams that have got promoted, but the teams in and around the bottom, when it comes to potentially Wolves and West Ham, are going to get to a stage right now where, because they brought this money in, they're going to start, you know, shelling it around a bit. You look at Wolves in particular, bringing in Fer Lopez, interested in a right back as well today, who's you know apparently a very decent prospect. Pudel, I think his name is. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how this transpires when it comes to the links, when it comes to the rumours. But it's a good start, and I'm happy with this. I am. Now, would I want a marquee signing at the end? Of course I would. My goodness, if Mr. Stack came in this week, it'd be a great week. And Leeds have work weekends. We have done this before, so let's hope that we can do that. Let's hope Muniz gets done. Those three will be a real prize cow at the minute, I think. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Those three in particular. Let's dot around that and let's see where we're at. Because I have to say, the reason I've not lost my mind when it's come to Leeds United right now is because I don't think the 49ers are chances. I think they've built a really good reputation at Leeds. They're doing things that other owners haven't done for us. They look like they're building a stadium. They've actually got the plans in place. They've submitted applications to the Leeds City Council, which is the furthest we've got in comparison to others who've just spoken about doing the stadium redevelopment. They've pledged to that. Not only that, but I thought their recruitment in the Championship was outstanding. When you look at some of the profiles that we got, and even the profiles we got on loan, in terms of, you know, the contributions this Leeds United side, I just think overall they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job, and Leeds are now, because of that recruitment, at a stage where I don't feel we have to do as much as other clubs, especially the priority clubs that have come up with us. But what I would say in and around that as well, let's be absolutely unequivocally clear here. This is not it. This is not it. We need to bring in more bodies. We need to bring in more midfielders, or midfielder, of which we're all very aware of. That's the conversation right now, and we do see other clubs in and around us bringing in very good signings, I think. We're not going to get into that too much, but we need to just stay in our lane, stop trying to focus on other clubs too much and comparing, because comparing is weakness in a sense, because you're not believing in your own project. And I do believe in the Leeds United project, and I do hope that this is now the start of something. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you buzzing with this? Fascinated to hear what you guys think. Longstaff looks like it's nearly a Leeds done deal. Get in.